guys, welcome to another live show, another live She Knows Arsenal, the first episode of a new series called Rivalry Aside. I've been dying to get Matisse on the channel, and I was like, is this the right time? But there's no time like the present. Here we go. Matisse, how are you? I'm happy to have you on the channel, and yeah, long time no talk, but this is perfect time. But yeah, how are you doing?
This is a perfect time. There's no better time than for us to talk than right now. Do you know what I mean? There's loads going on. We're conducting great business once again. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this, and definitely long time coming. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you guys who maybe don't know Matisse is a great content creator, Chelsea content creator, but talks about everybody. It's on DR Sports, right? You do a bunch of stuff. So yeah, and you be around, you're around.
I'm outside, I'm active.
You're outside, yeah, for sure. But just in general, like, where were you when the Noni news broke? How did you feel? What was your first thought? Give me what was your experience of it from your side?
Do you know what? Obviously, it's been interesting because everything's been happening over the last week. We had the first bid go in. That was its own meltdown. Then obviously, the personal terms was already done before that. So there's been like mini stages of meltdown. But when the actual here we go broke, I was actually on Twitter just waiting for it because I had my video in the draft waiting to go. I'd already recorded. I already had my message ready to send out, and I just needed Fabrizio to just put the final, dagger in there, and he did so. So it was like 10:30 that broke. It was a weird time, and to be honest, I was just looking forward to watching all the other content. I saw you streaming, I saw Curtis streaming, Turkish uploaded. Everything was just great, man. So yeah, for me, obviously we're going to talk about this player, but when we do deals, it's just head loss everywhere, and it's just funny, man. I'll be honest.
Oh my gosh, my head was on Pluto, and it still is. I cannot wrap my head around the signing or the fee or anything. If you had told me in January when we were really struggling with no attackers, that the first attacker through the door would be Noni Madueke for 50 million, I would have been like, what? But like over the last maybe like couple of months or so, it seems like the relationship between Maresca and Noni has deteriorated. Do you have any idea why that is? Is his attitude issues overblown? I know that's something that's weighing heavily on Arsenal fans' heads. So can you give any insight on that maybe?
I mean, him and Jackson, I guess together, they had that issue against Everton where they wanted the penalty off of Palmer. And that was quite a public display of immaturity from the both of them. And, I tried to say to Chelsea fans, we've had it before with Drogba and Ballack, and Drogba and Lampard as well on the final day against Wigan for a penalty for the title. He wanted the golden boot. So it's not out of the question that players bicker and argue on a pitch. I don't have a problem with that, but they obviously dragged it on far too long and they had to be pushed to the side. Maresca has this really weird relationship with Noni where I think he chooses this tactic to kind of talk about him publicly, whether that be really good or really bad in terms of his kind of need to improve or to take his performance to the next level, or he's praising him and he's saying he loves him because maybe that's how he feels he needs to get the best out of him, is to publicly talk about him or to kind of ask for a response, on the pitch when he's publicly criticized him. So the one thing I will say of Chelsea is it's always difficult to know exactly where our manager stands with players because there's more going on than just what he says in the press conference. Noni Madueke was purchased by Christopher Vell, which is the former director that we had from Leipzig, and he was part of the Red Bull model. We brought him in. He's no longer employed by Chelsea, but we have directors that did not bring Madueke in. And I feel like that has a part to play as to why he's available the last 2 summers. Not only is there a profit margin to be made on a 29 million purchase from PSV, but also because they didn't purchase him, they maybe didn't want him. And
they don't have a connection to him like that.
Yeah, and they don't feel responsible for him. So I feel like this was kind of orchestrated a little bit over the last couple of seasons. And now Arsenal have just been the team to kind of take him away. It was Newcastle linked before. So there's so many moving pieces behind the scenes. I don't think it was all down to the manager or the players' performances or anything. His performances didn't stand out as anything different to Neto or Sancho last season. They were all pretty much underwhelming, to be honest. So
yeah, no, I feel like watching Chelsea, I think it's pretty clear that maybe the winger position is where there needed to be some improvement. I feel like it's all kind of like the same. You see Neto and you see Noni and you see, you know, Mudryk when he did play, and it was like, okay, there's no real difference there. So, you know, it's just kind of all the same. Did you think that maybe towards the end his performances tailed off a little bit? Was he better when he first came in and then it tailed off, or was it just kind of consistently maybe average-ish? What's your feeling on Noni in that way?
I mean, when he first came in, I remember the first few months. I think he came in with a knock as well. I'm not too sure, but his dribbling always stood out. I think even at the Emirates in that 3-1 defeat, I think he scored, but his dribbling was definitely clearly like his best attribute, and it still is today. He has improved, like at Chelsea. Hasn't been maybe the improvement we all wanted in terms of leaps and bounds, but he tracks back. I remember the game away at West Ham where he let Emerson run off him at the back post at Olympic Stadium. That doesn't really happen anymore. He's much more locked in. So he works harder off the ball in the press. That's something you're going to get. I think he has worked on a few things like his shooting on his right foot. Little glimpses of it at times. I think it was against Luton. He may have got one. I may have got that opposition there wrong, but he has had a couple of right-footed shots off the left-hand side. He's a little bit unpredictable at times where he was showing, okay, I will come in on my inside on my right foot. I will go on the outside on my left. So he's trying to show different, different parts of his game to try and force his way into this team.
Yeah.
And his dribbling and his shooting, these are all things that, yeah, he still needs to improve his shooting, but at least he was trying to take the shots and he was crashing the box a little bit, getting a couple of tap-ins. But it's one of those things where with Madueke, yes, there has been gradual, small little things, but it's not enough for, I don't think, a lot of Chelsea fans to be like, this is a must keep. It's one of those situations where I can see something in him, but at the same time, it's not guaranteed. And we have so many players in this position. It's not the end of the world for us that he's moving on. And I think, obviously, we'll go and talk about how he fits into your team. But because of Saka, and I know we've spoken about Saka on Twitter before, do you know what I mean? And how good he is, and obviously Elise and whatnot. Yeah. I don't see Noni as that level of winger. That's the thing. And he's not that consistent. And he, for me, is at his best on the right. And for you guys, you've already got your star boy on the right. So that I don't really understand the fit, and I don't understand how he's going to peak at your club.
Yeah, well, let's get into it, because I can see where he doesn't fit into your future plans. Like, I totally understand that. You have Estavo, I think his name is coming in. You brought in Gittens. So, you're well stocked and you have like new players coming in. And so it's okay to let him go. But from an Arsenal perspective, I think people have spoken about, from especially like rivals, you need a striker and then you need more quality in forward areas. Is it a sign of Arsenal being more serious by bringing somebody? I know Nani's not at the same level as Saka, but maybe he's in like that next level down kind of thing. Is that a show of like ambition from Arsenal, do you think, like from your outside perspective, or is it kind of like, why spend that much on him? You know?
It really depends on what else you do, because I feel like, obviously, this is an England international. He's made his England debut. He's asserted himself to a degree. Like, we now know of him, but he's not had that breakout season where you're like, wow, this guy's gone to the next level. He's coming in to make Arsenal stronger. It's the position that you guys are in as well. It's all relative to the point that you're going for a title. You're looking for players that are going to finish off the job for this project and this phase and whatever. You don't really have time to necessarily be developing someone for 50 million who's not at the finished article. I think if you guys get, and I don't think this will happen, but if you got a Rodrygo on the left, or, you already had Gyokeres, if things were done in a different order and Madueke was right at the end of the window to just give Saka a backup, then I don't think there'd be a massive, massive issue. I think it's also outside of just Madueke, it's the fact that you're giving more money to Chelsea. You guys don't want to be giving 52 million to Chelsea when you could have, you could have gone and got someone else that could have been a squad. Everybody knows Saka needs a backup. Saka's had injury last season. He's been running to the ground by Arteta. You need to be able to take him out away at Bolton in a Carabao Cup game. You don't want him to just keep playing every game. But at the same time, you don't want to be giving money to us, which you've been doing a lot in the last 10 years. And then we go and take that money and use it better. So I think it's the fact that it's Chelsea. I think it's the fact that he's expensive. And I think it's the fact that you don't know necessarily what comes after this in terms of the other positions. Maybe Gyokeres is going to already be done. So there's a lot of factors. Definitely.
That's what I was telling everybody. I was like, it's not just one thing. There's so many layers to it. For me, it was like the instant was the Chelsea of it all. I couldn't get over it. I was just like, I can't get over this. And I'm still not over it. Like, I just don't like giving you guys money. And then it's like, I don't even really rate him like that, you know, but I also feel like I'm maybe unnecessarily harsh on your players as well, because they're Chelsea players, like, you know, so there's so many different layers. And then I think he's maybe too expensive for a backup, but not good enough to be a starter. And that's where, like you said, the other players come into play. If Arsenal, you know, get Gyokeres and get a Rodrygo or Eze or something like that in Noni, then it's different, especially with the order. But now it just feels like it's just, you know, insane.
Yeah.
Is he better than Martinelli to you?
Not as a left winger. Like I saw Martinelli when he had his first proper big season. I think it was your first title challenge where you really led the way for most of the season. You guys were firing out of the blocks and scoring goals quick in the transition. You were direct. Even I think, was it the season before last at the back end where Saka was starting to tail off, Martinelli was actually the one that was still kind of prevailing and continuing to perform. Last season he was poor. He was nowhere near the level that I expect. Is that partly down to Arteta and the way that he's kind of setting up the team to play more controlling, more percentages, he's playing less risk? This is probably part of it as well. Maybe it's burnout. I don't know. It's a weird one with Martinelli, because we saw what he's capable of, but at the same time, he sometimes can come off as a bit basic in his play. Like it's kind of one-way traffic, and there's not enough variety to his skill set. I feel at times. Madueke, I was a massive fan of someone like Leroy Sané. I've seen a left-footed left winger before in this league at Man City just absolutely smash it. Be very, very difficult to kind of mark, and you don't really know what they're going to do next, and they offer so many different things. Madueke has not had enough game time at left wing at Chelsea, or he has not put up the numbers or the stats or the performances. He's only had a couple of good performances at left wing for you guys who are going for a title to say, right, oh yeah, Madueke at left wing is going to be part of a title winning.
Do you think that's what Arteta's trying to do?
He must be, because look, he yes, we know he's gonna cover for Saka, and Wanyeri's there as well, who's got a year left. And I was teasing in my video, I wouldn't mind, because we sign all the teenagers, so Wanyeri is just another one at this point if that was to happen. But if you're using him for Saka cover, that's fine. But at the same time, for 50 million, you're gonna want to see him on a weekly basis, I'm sure, depending on who else you get. If he's playing him left wing, I'm not scared. I've got to see Madueke play at left wing to a higher level before I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe
you don't think Arteta can coach him up? You don't think Arteta's got the touch?
I mean, the only thing with Arteta is that he's had quite a lot of forwards at this point. He's kind of, it seems like him and Edu, or whatever it was, the relationship and who got final call. He's had Havertz, he had Jesus. He's had to put, obviously, injuries. Mikel Merino went up there and done a job. He brought in Willian, I believe. At the beginning, he had Sterling on loan. He's had Marquinhos. What happened to him? Come
on, Matisse. Marquinhos, really?
Hey, listen. My point is, you've had a lot of attacking signings, and none of them have really. The guys that have done the best have been Saka and Martinelli, who cost like 10 million or something. None of the big hitters have really worked. For
this is his first younger player though that he's brought in. That's actually, because I think Havertz was really only brought in for midfield, and then we had to disband that because it didn't work out. Yeah, but outside of he brought in Trossard, but Trossard is who he was going to be. I think he came in, he was already 28. Gabriel Jesus was already like 20, 26, 27. So this is the first player where I think you're bringing him in, you're buying him, and there's supposedly going to be some coaching or something like that. So I think, like, second again is saying Mikel loves fixing players, and I fear. I really don't. I looked at Asani comp yesterday, and I was like, he's really trying this. Like, this is really what he wants to try to do. I don't know if he has it in him. I don't know.
My question is, I'll ask you, like, why does he feel the need to always have to go almost against the grain? What is his kind of thing with, I need to prove that Havertz can be this guy, or Madueke can be this guy? Is it not a plug and play situation for Arsenal at this point in this stage, where you have Saliba and Gabriel, you have Raya, I think he won the Golden Glove, Saka performing at a high level, Declan Rice. Why Lewis Skelly, great debut season? Why is it so difficult now for him to just plug and play, get players that what you're getting, they're proven, and that's it now? You're going for the league, and that's that. Why does there need to be an experiment? I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know
get it.
either. That's one thing, if I could ask Arteta, I would just say, like, "Why do you have to do this? Like, you're a good coach." Like, his coaching has got us to a certain level, because I think at one point, I felt like he was coaching us into a position, like he was
Mm,
making everybody better. Now, it's this obsession with wanting to coach people up that's keeping us from getting to where we actually wanna go. So,
mm.
you have that thing where it's like Arsenal fans are like, "Well, if we never had Arteta, we wouldn't be here." And I'm like, "Yeah, but also having Arteta means we can't get further along because he's obsessed with this stuff." So, I don't really know why he's so obsessed with this. It all comes down to whether or not we're gonna put the money down for those other players. I can stomach Madueke coming to the club if we get as a Rodrygo, Gyokeres, but even I feel like he might have been saved from himself as well, because he wanted Sesko instead, and we know that that was somewhat of a project, you know? I did
Yeah.
wanna ask you about that too, like, do you think it's almost like, I mean, from your perspective, it would be like more of like a negative, but
Mm.
that we couldn't get Sesko, so now we're going for Gyokeres. Is that more of like oh, that worries me from a rival perspective? Because I don't think that anybody was scared of Sesko.
Yeah, I,
What do you think?
it's obviously maybe it's Berta versus Arteta. I don't know if they're singing from the same song sheet. Obviously, he's only just come in from Atletico.
Yeah.
And look, I think with Sesko, he's another player where he's still not had for that me. He hasn't had that breakout season for me where it's like all eyes on him. He must move. Time to step up to the next level. I still feel like there's more learning and more growing for him to do in that Leipzig team. And
Mhm.
when it comes down to Gyökeres, I understand there's a style clash, and maybe
Yeah.
Sesko suits the system more, and I get that. But I don't think the way that you played last season is something to necessarily be trying to suit. I think when you guys were, but like I said, more direct, more transitional, got the ball forward quickly. Martinelli was at his very best. Saka, Odegaard, they were all performing in this team. That was, yeah, it did burn out towards the end. Yeah, Saliba did get injured, but I feel like that was a scarier version of Arsenal as opposed to what I watched last season, where yeah, you did get to the semi-finals of the Champions League, but it felt very heavy on set pieces. We even saw long throws against PSG, and I'm just like, I don't understand the regression in terms of the quality of the football.
Yeah.
And if Gyokeres is coming in to make you guys more transitional, I think that's
Mm.
a good thing for you guys, and I think that
Mm.
is a problem for us because at the end of the day, as a Chelsea fan, the only kind of the no one's just craving big names to get big names, but for me, when you can actually hang your hat on an experienced or top level player that has done some dirt in Europe and in their own league, won a league at Sporting, you just feel like you can place more pressure on them as a fan to say, yeah, you should be getting at least 20 Premier League goals. Yeah, you should be trying to lead us to a title. That's what you're here to do. I'm sure that will be his quote when he comes,
Mhm.
and he signs on the dotted line. He does his big interview for Arsenal at the beginning. Whereas Sesko, it does feel unfair to put that pressure on him. It feels unfair to say, you got to lead us to our first title in whatever, 20 years. That doesn't feel right. And I feel like you've already got Havertz and Mikel Merino and Jesus. You've got enough of those kind of guys that they'll
Yeah.
drop deep with the system and whatnot. Just get someone who can finish. And it doesn't mean he's going to definitely work out, but you got to take risks. And for me, that's a risk worth taking. Someone that at least
Oh,
there's
yeah.
evidence of higher level performance, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Gyökeres is the type of player, at least from a mentality, perspective, he just
Mm,
helped Sporting win a title. You know, he's confident. I think you need to bring in players that have kind of like been there, done that. He's desperate to come. So, yeah, I'm hoping that, fingers crossed it gets over the line sooner rather than later.
mm.
Um, I've seen you talking about Rodrygo as if you have a chance to get him. You don't. I'm just telling you right
why
now.
why is that?
You just don't. Like, what are you saying? Like, come on. Like, I know you've seen it. You're online just like I am. His
Yeah.
preference is Arsenal. So
I,
why are you
I, I
what are you doing? I don't
I
get it.
haven't. I don't see anything. I'm blind. I
Sure.
can't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. All I've seen is this guy willing to sit on the bench at Real Madrid for the last how many weeks. He's doing social media graphics now. He's posting every time they got a game. He's putting up a graphic. I was even going to ask him if he does thumbnails at this point because this guy, he doesn't
Mhm.
seem to want to play football. They
Yeah.
brought on Vasquez. They brought on Diaz. They brought on Carvajal. They brought on every player. They
Mhm.
even almost brought on former players. I'm telling you, they almost brought people out of retirement before they put him on that pitch. They're actively looking to get money for him, And he's just like, no, I'm very happy here.
Yeah.
So I honestly, mentally, I'm starting to question him a little bit. If he doesn't, I get it's Real Madrid, and I understand, because obviously me and you are looking for the same thing from him. This is your opportunity in your career to take that next step. Be the main man. You know, step out of Vinny and Mbappe's shadow. Be that main left winger. Be one of the top left wingers in the world. Take responsibility. Take that step. I don't know if he wants to take that step, and I don't want to beg. You know what I mean?
You were begging on the timeline.
I've stopped. Have you stopped begging?
I've never begged him in my life.
I don't know. If I search Jessica or Rodrygo, am I going to see a bunch of begging on the timeline? Say, yeah, Rodrygo, please.
No way. I do really rate him. I like him a lot. I have like maybe the same fears that you do, that I'm like, are you leaving, dog, or what? Like, what are you up to? Like, you could either be Alexis Sanchez or you can be Lucas Vasquez. You need to choose. What are you going to be? You know, but I mean, he's being pushed out. He's the type of level I feel like we should be going for. But if he doesn't back himself to be the guy, then, you know, it is what it is. If you think you have a chance, though, I can't see him in blue. I just can't. You know, some players you just can't see him in blue. You know?
The reason why I'm hesitant is because we don't tend to sign those type of players anymore at Chelsea under this ownership, especially in the recent windows.
Does that bother you?
Yeah, because if there's an opportunity to get a top player, I'm always in, you know, as long as it makes sense. Obviously, when you add his wages over 6, 7, 8 years, and you calculate how much that is in comparison to a Madueke or a Gittens, who are making like maybe 60, 70K, that's where the price difference comes, not even just a transfer fee. But I'm about winning. I'm sure you're about winning. So as much as we can do the accounting, I also want to win. So top players, you know, win top games. Would you take Leao? Because he's available. I know Arteta definitely probably wouldn't go for him because of the work rate, but I don't know. Would you sacrifice?
I hate to be that type of person that's like, yeah, but he doesn't track back. But like, something about him just, you know, if he's available and Rodrygo's available, why is it the case that everybody's interested in Rodrygo and not you? You know, you're probably cheaper. Maybe your wage demands are not as high. Something about him gives me like red flags, like he's not going to work in the Prem or something. But would I take him over nothing? Yeah. You know, I'm watching Martinelli every week, you know, so of course I would.
Have you lost it with Martinelli? Have you lost it with him?
Let the chat let you know.
Oh, really? Is it like that? Oh, no.
Oh,
is it like that?
It's over between me and him.
Really?
It just is. I can't watch him run out the end line anymore.
You'd sell him if you could, like if you got.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. I would absolutely sell him if we could. I think that, you know, he's such a one-dimensional player, and he's not necessarily creative. He's just quick, you know, and that's not the type of winger that I like. You know, I want somebody a little bit more creative and has more tools, you know, to use. He's kind of just like head down, out the end line, and I'm just like, bro, lift your head down, you know. But I think he will be here, for sure. Hopefully as a backup. I wanted to ask you just like lastly on the Arsenal stuff before we get into Chelsea, but Eze, listen, I think you're kind of a fan of Crystal Palace, like I am, like just like on a side mission, kind of like, you know, rooting for them. What's happened to them in terms of like, you know, the Europa League is just ridiculous, and I feel really bad for them. But I would like to poach their best player off of their team, you know. I mean, the game is the game.
Hey, the game is the game.
For sure. Arsenal being interested in Eze, what does that say to you from the outside looking in? You know, he's not. We have Rice, we have Odegaard, we have Zubimendi now. What do you think Arteta is maybe looking for in bringing in Eze? Is he a good fit, you know, for Arsenal? In your mind?
Perfect fit. Yeah. For me, like out of obviously him, Noni, Gyokeres, like this is the dead cert, because this is a guy that, look, even Eze has been inconsistent at Palace, and I was always, because obviously he's a bit older, and I thought, is he going to take that next step? And obviously Elise and him used to kind of do the 1-2 step, and he goes to Bayern and just does a ridiculous season there. And you know, we've had Zaha, there's been talent, Balassi, there's been talent at Palace, but it's like, are they ready to go to the next level? I just feel like Eze, you need something different on that left-hand side. You need someone with that close control. I feel like he just goes straight into that pocket perfectly. I know Declan Rice has been driving into that zone, but in terms of chance creation and dribbling and just unpredictability. He just gives you that. And I think Odegaard's last season only makes it more important, because Odegaard now, he just feels like he kind of feels like a player that just kind of keeps things ticking. He's happy to make the short passes that keep possession. Obviously, he instigates the press. He works hard, but he doesn't feel like the guy that's, and maybe he'll come back to it, but he doesn't feel like the guy that's going to create something out of nothing. And I don't know why that is, because I always felt like he would have been a creative player at some point. You know, he obviously had a great season when he got, was it 20 goals or 15? Was it non-penalty goals? So even his shooting's kind of gone downhill as well. And I feel like he does need competition. And I know it's obviously on the other side, just coming off the left, but
Eze can still play in that position.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And he needs competition. Even though he's captain, he needs competition. Wanyeri needs to be given him competition. He's talented as well. You can't have enough good players. You look at Man City and the amount of options they have. I was looking at their bench in the Club World Cup, whether it's Cherki, Mamouche, Oscar Bob, you know, Foden. There's just an array of options. And you guys, you need a trophy next season. And I've always said, and I say it to even Chelsea, don't turn your nose up at anything. Carabao Cup, FA Cup. I know it's not the majors. It's not what you're aiming for. But if you can get something, it's better than nothing. And you need a squad to do that. And you don't want to be relying upon a squad of 12, 13 players. And then if you have key injuries, then it's not excuses, but it's the context of, oh, well, we had injuries, so we can't do anything now. You ain't got time for that next season. Last season, I think, was Arteta's like last chance to have those excuses. Now, you need to win regardless, whatever happens. So,
yeah, I mean, it's crazy, because I hope Arsenal fans are listening to that, because I've been talking about that for years now, that it wouldn't relieve Mikel from having to get bigger trophies, but if he had won some of the small ones along the way, there'd at least be proof of concept. I think we're getting beyond the point of, like, you know, I feel like when you start to win the small things, then your players start to gain more confidence. And you can't just be turning your nose up to these Carabaos. I can't do the bigger fish to fry thing, you know. And I think we haven't won in so long that we forget that it does kind of relieve the pressure ever so slightly, at least for, you know, a couple of days. But yeah, make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I want to talk to you about, you know, your Club World Cup experience, and, you know, how do you think, you know, how are you feeling going up against PSG? Living through that experience, I'll tell you right now that
it's long.
It's long. I'm just thinking back, I'm like, I was, you know, my team get outplayed in a very long time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I watched them against Madrid, and I was trying to put on a brave face, but you know, listen, it's a tough one. But for me, Chelsea's DNA and their identity has always been winning when we're not expected to. You know, the Champions League final under Tuchel, everybody said Pep, Man City, best team in the country, they're going to get it done. When we went to Munich against Bayern in their own house, everybody said, you know, they're gonna win that game, you know, and so on and so on. And obviously, yes, we're not favorites. But if you're going to be a big club and you're going to be a club that stands on business and you're about picking up trophies, you can't just pick up trophies when you're the best team in the world or the best team in the country. You've got to find it within yourself to go against the odds, and you got to pick up something when you're not expected to. That's what big clubs do. And for me, that's what we have to do. And we've lost too many finals, obviously, at Wembley recently. We won the Conference League, which we was expected to win. But even just getting that, even though it is minor, it's major for the group, because it just gives them that taste. And now they have the incentive of, oh yeah, we need to be winning. Like, we don't want to taste defeat again. And I'm looking forward to PSG. I'll be honest. Like, I know it's tough, and I know it's going to be a tough game, but this is what you want as a fan. You don't want to be playing against teams where you know you're going to win. You don't want games where there's no jeopardy. I had that the whole Conference League, where I just knew we were going to win. And it was just about a matter of when, not if. Now at the top stage, we're back in the Champions League. This is the level, and this is our opportunity to kind of prove ourselves. Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo, big money midfield, Santos. I rate these guys. Now they're coming up against Vitinha, Neves, Fabian Ruiz. What a test. This is what you want. So for me, it's the battle of the projects. Obviously, theirs has got them a treble and Luis Enrique. But I'm excited, man. And I just know if we win, damn. You better mute me.
You have one job. You have one job. Yes,
listen, if we win this game, I'm telling you now, I'm going to the mega store. I'm getting gold badge shirts everywhere, getting a crown from Amazon, putting it on my head, everything. I'm going all up. I got gold confetti coming in the post soon. I'm going all the way, man. I'm buzzing. I'm just happy to be
If you guys win, it's the deadest tournament I've ever seen. It does not count whatsoever. What is the Club World Cup? But if PSG win, this was the test and they failed. Like, I'm telling you, like, the agenda will be real. But Mr. Iguana is like saying, you know, excited for that midfield battle. Let's see how Caicedo does against them. If there is a distance, in your opinion, in terms of the quality of the teams, where do you feel like you measure up? Like, where are you guys equal, better to PSG? What do you have to bring into your team to be closer to that team? I feel like everybody's measuring themselves up against PSG because we all feel like they're the best team in the world. Where do you think you need to improve, or where do you think you guys are actually close to them?
I think the goalkeeper is just wow. The goalkeeper gap is just it's there. It's definitely there to be seen. Even though Sanchez has improved over the last couple of months, I've got PTSD, and trusting him is going to take. I don't know if it's possible for me to trust him, because he just always has that kind of moment in him where even if he's having a good game, you just know. I mean, he passed it to Declan Rice, of course, you know, for the 2-2. There's just that moment in him where I'll just give the ball away to the opposition, just because. It's not because I've been pressed or because, you know, it's just because I've just decided that that's what I want to do right now. I'm just going to just play it to an opposition player, or, you know, so it just, for me, he's always got me on edge. I think their wingers are definitely A grade, man. Desiree Doué and Cavaskillia and Barcola off the bench, even though he misses some chances in the back end of the season, still a great dribbler. And obviously Dembele. Dembele is going for the Ballon d'Or. When you've got someone that's performing at that level, I mean, we had Cole Palmer the season before performing at an insane level. He hasn't been doing that in the last 6-7 months. Dembele's playing at a level where he's unstoppable. All of his finishing is crisp, is precise, it's clinical. His link up is incredible. His you know, his press, the way that they press is fantastic. It's, for me, it's one of those things where Chelsea, we have been improving defensively in the last few months. We've been keeping more clean sheets. Yeah. We have been competitive, and our midfield, for me, can stand up against anyone in the world. That's the part of the team that I think is ready to go to the top. But we have to kind of, we have been showing it in the Club World Cup with the flexibility in the system and being more unpredictable, but now we got to do it against the best. And obviously the gap between the managers has got to be stated. You know, Maresca's still very young in this game, and Enrique he's done so much things. So there's definitely things, but I'm hoping that we're going to shock people, and I always back us in a final anyway. That we're not going to let that gap be as big as it seems. And obviously, I got to say that after Inter Milan and Real Madrid have been spanked, but yeah, I'm not expecting us to lose like that. I'm not expecting us to have that type of humiliation. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be much closer. It's going to be much closer. But I mean, I feel like this is going to be a really good final. You guys have a good chance. You know, I think PSG maybe have like just a little bit over you guys, but anything can happen in a final. We know that. Talk to me about Gittens. You know, how do you feel about the signing? He's a player that we were linked to. Watched a couple comps, thought raw player, but has all the like tools and stuff. Is that an instant upgrade on Noni and Mudryk? You know, what do you think about him?
I never wanted Mudryk. I'll just say that. You know, you guys wanted him, and then he was posting on Instagram stories and watching the Arsenal, and then we just swooped in and took him. And most times, if, you know, Chelsea and Arsenal in battle for transfers, it's all fun and games. We all, you know, fling banter each other's way. That was the one time I wasn't on any banter. I said, I don't want this player. I don't know why we've gone in for him. I'm not interested in winning this transfer, you know, battle with Arsenal. I actually don't want this player. I just don't think he's ready for that level of money. I think he was worth 35 million, and he ended up costing 62 with add-ons, and obviously he's now suspended. But
I'm gonna let you get away with 62, but I won't know.
I mean, just imagine if Mudryk had joined Arsenal, you know, and he didn't work out. How much of a beautiful time that would have been. Don't you agree?
I mean, was he just bad, or did he come into a bad Chelsea? Like, you guys, I feel like you guys like to ruin attackers. Like,
it was bad timing. It's not an environment that any young player should have come into. I'll be honest. It was a bloated changing room, and it was not stable, and change of managers and all sorts. But yeah, look, for me, Gittens is. I'm not going to say Gittens is an upgrade on Madueke, because for me that's me just saying that just because Noni's leaving, and I'm not going to do that. Noni and Gittens, we'll see next season, of course, but Gittens is really good 1v1. Noni was really good 1v1. I do like Gittens' dribbling style a little bit more. I feel like the close control is just a little bit more there. But in terms of finishing and goal scoring, he didn't have a breakout season at Dortmund. Now, the manager did change midway, and that changed the system, and then his numbers just completely dropped off. But he hasn't. Dortmund fans, they'll even say he's a bit inconsistent, as you expect. 20 years old, raw, still thinks he needs to improve his vision or his link-up play and his awareness of what's around him and all these things. There's gonna be, when someone's new, it's like they're the best. But when you see them for a full 90 minutes every single week, you realize that this is not a joke anymore, and you actually have to take this in and you have to watch them. I don't know what level he's going to play at from the get-go, but what I do know is I'm not going to expect him to be this consistent world beater in his first season. I'm sure he's going to be just as frustrating at times as Noni was or as Neto was, and that's to be expected. I just think with him, at least the bare minimum with him is that it makes sense for the system that we played last year. We play with touchline wingers. He's a touchline winger. That's where he plays best. We're not using him in a role that he's not familiar with or he's not good at. So at least I can make it make sense on that standpoint. But I'm not going to say that Gittens is on my list as first choice or anything, because I'll be lying.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get that. He just looks like a talented young player, and we'll just all see. But like, he looks like a good player. Like, I probably still would have taken him at Arsenal if we had been linked. I wouldn't have been like upset by it. But you know, you guys got him now, so now he's ass. You know, so
is that what you're doing?
Of course, that's how it goes. If you come to us, you're good. If you go to them, you're not. You know. That's on Delap. You know, how'd you feel about that? That's such a weird transfer. I feel.
If you're ever concerned or questioning the Chelsea signing, you need to ask just 3 questions. Did they play at Brighton? Did they play at City? And if it was one of those 2 things, you have your answer. And also, what was the wages? What was the fee? And you know, and this is a market opportunity. At the end of the day, Delap is a player that worked with Maresca, was at Man City. We have Joe Shields, the scout. So it's all interlinked. And it's a market opportunity. At 30 million, you're almost guaranteed to get a profit on him. If he's going to be in the England squad in the next couple of years, if he's going to back up Kane, which is what everyone expects, or he's going to be in and around that. For me, he's a battering ram. At the moment, he's a battering ram. I get that he can link up, and not even link up because he's not Ikatike for me or one of those type of strikers, but he's competent at linking up, and he's not technically like flawed or anything. He's come from City. I'm sure he can do those things. And we saw it with the cross in the, I think it was a game against LAFC. Really good cross, dug it out, lovely. But I don't want to say that he doesn't thrive better off a more chaotic back and forth type team. I personally don't look at him as, oh yeah, low block, really stationary, stable, you know, kind of slow, methodical play. Delap's going to just be the guy that you kind of find and he makes things out of nothing, like an Isak. For me, it is more like a counter attack or a transition, and then he comes alive. And maybe that's just because what I've watched at Ipswich, that's what I saw. But I don't want to go into the season relying upon him. I always felt like that's a squad kind of signing. That's a second choice striker. I wouldn't want to go into a season with my ambitions as Delap as the first choice. You need to rely upon him week in, week out, because again, it's similar to Sesko. I just don't think it's fair to put these guys under that pressure when they've not played at that level to be dependent on them like that. He's a good player, but I don't know. Yeah.
What about João Pedro then? Like, does he relieve the pressure off of Delap? Is he actually going to be like a striker in this system? Because I'm not going to even lie to you. He is one of the most annoying players in the league. When he was going to Newcastle, I was like, that is a perfect fit for you. Because he does the thuggery like I've never seen, you know, but he showed like in his first first debut that, you know, he when he's around better players, maybe he's gonna do better things. He's not somebody that particularly stood out to me in terms of like the numbers standpoint. He looks like a talented player, but you know, is he like the starting number 9 that you guys need? Do you think he's going to play a different position? Do you still need to go out there and get somebody? Because Ekatike is supposed to still be coming to the Prem. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this player I like, and I liked at Brighton, but I wasn't sure what our plan was with him. Because obviously we didn't play the system we're playing the Club World Cup last season. We just played a flat 4-2-3-1, touchline wingers, 110 in Parma, and everything was pretty rigid. Now we're starting to see a lot more fluidity when we play. Sometimes there's twin 10s. We even showed a bit of a 3-4-3. Like, we're showing systems and formations where Pedro actually gets in, and you can see where he's at his best and where he'll play. He played up front in the last game, and honestly, I'll be honest, those 2 finishes just took me to places I've not been in a long time. I was excited, and I'm usually quite calm on someone when they come in. I'm trying to, I'm trying to measure them and measure what I can expect and what to look for. But this guy, those 2 finishes moved me differently. I said, wow, if he can do that on a regular basis, he's going to change lives. And the thing is with him at Brighton, he didn't score loads of goals in open play, and it's not because he's got bad finishing. Like, I don't see João Pedro missing loads of gilt-edged chances, but he just didn't seem to take many shots. And then it's like, is that because of the way Brighton's using it? Is it because he doesn't trust his shooting? What is it? But these 2 Rockets have just kind of put everything in question. Like, if he is going to play up front, then there's nothing that he can't. There's nothing he can't do that Ekitike can. You know what I mean? Like, they're both technically secure. They're good on the dribble. They can go past players. He's very good at pulling out wide and doubling up over there. And if the finishing is like that, then I've got no complaints. So I think he's the one out of him, Gittens and Delap, that has the ability to kind of take things to another level really quickly. If he's just that guy, you know what I mean? He's been in the Premier League for a while now, at Watford as well. So it's not like as if he hasn't got some experience. I think he's been playing first team football for like 5 years now. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's interesting.
Yeah. He's
do you rate him? Would you have taken him at Arsenal as a striker?
No. Not for me. And the only reason why I say that is because, you know how you can see somebody's a good player, but you don't think they're a good fit for you? I feel like I know he's a good player, but we've had Jesus in the past. We have Kai. I do think we need like a traditional 9. I think we do. I think we're over the false 9 situation. It's just, the Trossard was playing like that too. Like, we need to go get the guy that's going to score the 20 goals or whatever. So yeah, if we had never had Jesus, maybe, but I'm not saying he's exactly the same as Gabriel Jesus, but I think he's more of that type of player. So yeah, I would prefer, what we're hopefully getting, but yeah, it's that was an interesting signing. I thought you guys were going for Ekitike, but maybe this guy's a better fit, for you guys.
It's strange with Chelsea because you just don't know what's going on. Sometimes we just I didn't have this guy.
Super random. I'll say that. Like, out of nowhere,
that was random. In my opinion, that was quite random. I don't know how other Chelsea fans feel. I'm just speaking for myself. When I saw us going for him, I was a bit surprised. I wasn't expecting that. And I just feel like, at least one thing I will say credit to us is I feel like we were quite weak at the start of last season. Like, the team was very weak, not just physically. I felt like Felix and even in Cuckoo to a degree, like you're getting a bit of a fragile team. And I feel like Delap and João Pedro, these guys physically have just come in and they have taken the team to
physicality, that kind of stuff.
They've taken it to a different level in that regard, where we're not going to be bullied. Obviously, and Cuckoo was coming off a lot of injuries, so we had to look after him and play in Conference League and whatnot. So at least, I think we're not going to be bullied like we have been maybe in previous seasons. You guys have bullied us so many times and when we played you, which is I'm sick of it now at this point. I'll be honest. Next season I need 6 points.
Speaking of that, are you guys going to beat us this season? It's been a while. You think so?
Yeah. Absolutely. So? If I didn't believe we could beat you, I wouldn't be doing this thing. I wouldn't even be asked, honestly. Like, I'm not. When it comes to Arsenal and Tottenham, I don't play. When we're playing you, it is you must perform. At the Emirates, I'll be respectful. Okay, fine. Depending on the circumstances, maybe a point is not the worst case. But like, logic for me goes out of the window for London derbies. I just want to win, and I need a win against you lot.
You think João Pedro and Gittens is going to take you it's going to get you 3 points?
Do you think Noni Madueke is going to contribute for your 3 points?
I think Gyokeres is.
Oh, is it done? Is it done?
He's coming. You know he's coming.
You know what you don't need right now? You don't need that somehow just magically to just not happen. And then Nicholas Jackson, would you be tempted? Because you love to do business with us. You need a striker. Maybe that's your
terrible.
That's a
That
real
would be
implosion in your
terrible.
fan base
Now
right there.
that I'd rather go with nothing. Keep what we got.
If that happened, yeah, this YouTube site might be going down, I'll be honest. It would be crazy.
You want to have any fans left. It's crazy. But I don't know. We were beating you guys up with Havertz and stuff up front. I don't know if much is changing because of
the physical level we couldn't compete with. That's what it was, I feel. Technically, I really don't think there's a massive gulf between the two teams. I think it's all physical. I think Gabriel, mentality, physical level, Rice, physical level, just so much physicality in your team. I just felt like we could never deal with it. And that's nasty because
so we're just beating you up. That's it.
That's what it is. That's why I was so angry. I'm like,
okay.
Like, yeah. you guys are just beating us up. And it's funny because 10, 20 years ago, that was us, Drogba. You know, that was what we did to you. And it's just like roles reversed. It was just crazy to me. Crazy.
You guys are going to need some better center backs.
I'm hoping Levi Colwell for me he's got to step up. He's stepping up, man. Last couple months, I can even see it. The quotes. I'm praying that this is what I'm going to get from him now. I got a lot of stocks invested.
In Colwell?
Of course. He's from Cobham. Cobham defenders. You know where it is. Reece James, Lewis Hall. You know, even Mark Gurr, he could be going to Liverpool.
How close is he to Saliba and Gabriel in your mind? Just asking. For my receipts.
I'm not going to put him on their level right now because he hasn't performed to their level. Like, he has not had a season like they've had defensively. On the ball, he's on their level. No, I have no problems with him on the ball. It's just out wide, shoulder to shoulder. We have had some Antonio issues, you know, 1v1 in isolation, 1v1. You know, it's been a couple of times he's got bullied, but I have to say he's obviously still young. Saliba's a bit of a rarity at that age to be performing at such a high level. You don't tend to get that from centre backs. They usually need to be.
You could just say the words.
Nah, because I don't want to do too much. Nah, obviously, Ala Madrid soon, hopefully. How many years? How many years left? How many?
He's
many years left?
He's gonna sign the team.
Listen, I don't know who's signing the things, but you know, is Wanyeri signing the thing?
Of course, you're online. You know, you were used to get a better deal. That was it. But at least you guys can't pretend he's not good anymore because you guys are twerking.
I have never said Wanyeri's not good. Yeah, I know a good player, and Wanyeri's a very good
stuff. Player. Like, that was insane.
I'm just saying, if you guys don't win something this season, some of those senior players going to get a little bit disgruntled. I don't know if those deals will be signed. I'll be watching because I'm sure they're tired of this now. They want trophies, you know, some of them. So, yeah.
Fair enough. That's true. You know, I can't deny that. I can't deny that for sure. But listen, I really did enjoy the stream. I thought it was really insightful. I don't feel any better about Noni Madueke, but I had fun.
Yeah, you know? I didn't want to lie. You know what I mean? That's one thing I didn't come here to do is lie. I just came here to be honest.
What do you have going like now? Like, where can people find you? You know, that kind of stuff. Because I'm sure people that don't follow you are going to want to know what you're up to.
MAH on YouTube for sure. Just Club World Cup duties, final, PSG, watch along, hopefully world champions, hopefully gold badge, hopefully trophy through the door, gold confetti, crowns, all of that good stuff. World champ. London is blue, all of those things. This is what we need on Sunday. If that doesn't happen, I don't know. Like, you know, I might not be available. I might be booking flights, might have a little holiday. But MAH is where you find me.
Be available.
I might go on my players are about to go on a break because they're tired after playing in the heat and thunderstorms and lightning. So I might take my own little holiday.
Please impact them. Please impact them at the beginning of the season. I need this to impact them. But no, yeah, like, make sure you guys are following Matisse. His channel is linked in the title, so you guys can find him there. Find him on Twitter. Make sure you guys show him some love. And listen, next time, you know, I have you on the channel, it needs to be my time. It needs to be my time to banter. But hopefully we get to talk soon. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel on the way out. We'll talk tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.